On August 20, 1966, a young boy flying a kite on a hillside near Niteroi found two men lying side by side in the tall grass. They were dressed in formal suits, with raincoats layered on top. There were no signs of a struggle, no wounds, and no indication of how they died. Resting over their eyes were two handmade masks cut from thick sheets of lead. Police found a notebook in one of their pockets. It contained a set of precise timed instructions. 4:30, be at the agreed place. 6:30, swallow capsules. After effect, protect metals. Wait for mask signal. Every piece of evidence suggests the men followed this timeline exactly. They arrived at the hill on schedule, they had the water ready to swallow the capsules, and they were wearing the lead protection. They had planned for every variable mentioned in the note. Despite that preparation, their plan ended in an outcome they clearly hadn't anticipated. It serves as a reminder that even the most rigid human instructions cannot account for every possible variable. 60 years later, the 2026 World Cup was organized with that same belief in rigid systems. This was the first 48-team tournament, a massive operation managed through predictive metrics, elite sports science, and billion-dollar valuations. Analysts and managers entered the tournament believing that if they possessed enough data and adhered to the established rules of the game, the results would remain predictable. However, as the matches began, the data models started to show unexpected deviations. The tournament was entering a space where the established rules of logic no longer seemed to dictate the outcome. Investigators reconstructed Manuel and Miguel's final day through a trail of mundane receipts. They took a bus, bought raincoats, and purchased a single bottle of water. They kept every slip of paper, seemingly intending to account for their expenses when they returned home to their families. But the forensic analysis provided no answers. The summer heat had already caused significant decomposition by the time the bodies were reached, leaving the toxicology reports inconclusive. There were no obvious signs of cardiac failure or poisoning. Without any physical trauma to point to, the coroner was forced to leave the paperwork incomplete. On the official record, the cause of death is still listed as undetermined. This lack of physical evidence creates a void. When the standard tools of investigation fail to find a cause, it suggests the men were facing something the coroner's office wasn't equipped to measure. A similar forensic breakdown occurred in the 2026 group stages. Cape Verde, a nation of just over 500,000 people, held Spain to a scoreless draw. It was a result that ignored the vast disparity in professional infrastructure and market value between the two teams. Turkey produced 62 shots across 3 matches from high-probability areas, resulting in 0 goals. Next, Germany completed 719 passes against Paraguay's 161. Despite dominating possession, Germany lost. This towering gap shows how little possession mattered. Even Brazil, a team that has historically reached the later stages of every tournament, was eliminated in the round of 16. For the first time in the history of the competition, the most successful nation in the sport failed to make the quarterfinals. These results show that historical pedigree and statistical dominance were not enough to ensure a win. The metrics were being overruled by factors the models couldn't see. By the time Spain and Argentina reached the final at MetLife Stadium, the narrative was centered entirely on Lionel Messi. The expectation was that his career would conclude with a final, successful title defense. But on the pitch, Spain's tactical system proved effective at isolating him. Messi was kept away from the ball for long stretches, unable to influence the flow of the match as he had in previous rounds. The game changed when Enzo Fernandez received a second yellow card. Argentina was forced to play with 10 men, shifting their entire strategy from an offensive press to a defensive survival for the duration of extra time. The pressure eventually told in the 106th minute. Ferran Torres found a pocket of space in the box and scored the only goal of the game, ending Argentina's chance at the title. A single foul and one clinical finish had effectively neutralized a tournament's worth of tactical preparation. Argentina's plan, much like Manuel and Miguel's, had been undone by a variable they couldn't control. Spain's victory was built on a defensive record that matches the anomalies seen elsewhere in the tournament. They conceded only one single goal across 8 matches, a level of defensive efficiency that no other winning team has ever reached. Kylian Mbappé finished with 10 goals, becoming the all-time leading scorer in World Cup history. Individually, he performed at a record-breaking level, yet those statistics exist in the context of a team that failed to reach the final match. This brings us back to the hillside in 1966. We are left with the same set of facts: the lead masks, the notebook, and the 2 men who followed their instructions to the letter. We remain fascinated by these cases because they reveal the limits of our own systems. Whether it's a spiritual ritual or a world-class sporting event, these anomalies prove that despite our best efforts to plan and calculate, we are never in full control of the final record.